NOVATO, Calif, a white 2019 Audi A8 L sedan with extra fuel tanks in the trunk pulled away from a Midtown Manhattan parking garage late last Saturday night. A driver on a high-speed mission aimed the car west and hit the accelerator.
Averaging more than 100 miles per hour over nearly 3,000 miles of the nation's epically uncrowded highway system, the car arrived at an oceanside hotel in Redondo Beach, Calif, less than 27 hours later.
The car and its three-person crew, none of whom have yet revealed themselves publicly, easily broke the record for driving from New York to Los Angeles, a sprint known as the Cannonball Run. Past record holders expect the mark to fall again in the coming weeks, and maybe again and again, one more impact of the coronavirus-induced quarantine that the nation is under.
It's amazing how fun it is to drive on the highways right now, said Doug Tabbitt, part of the three-man crew that broke the long-standing Cannonball Run record last November, only to learn of losing it this past week. It's like having an American Autobahn.
Traffic levels have dropped more than 90% in some major cities, and at least 50% nearly everywhere. Open highways beckon. Empty city streets tease. Gone are congestion and gridlock. In their place is temptation and speed.
The fewer the cars, the faster they go, and law enforcement is on high alert. In California, the spike in speeding tickets for driving more than 100 miles per hour, 543 citations written by the Highway Patrol over 10 days in March, grew in inverse proportion to the cars on the road. Posting batches of tickets or three-digit radar gun readings on social media has become a popular pastime for police precincts, if not a deterrent for heavy-footed scofflaws.
In New York City over 14 days in mid-March, traffic reportedly dropped 71% as speed cameras caught 12% more infractions than during a comparable period in January. The average speed on the Brooklyn-Queens Expressway has gone from 13 miles per hour to 52.
In Portland, Oregon, the typical number of people caught driving more than 30 miles per hour over the limit has gone from single digits in February to around 30 these days. One car was flagged going 139 miles per hour. Two motorcycles, racing, were caught doing 132.
Sergeant Brett Barnum, a traffic supervisor for the Portland Police Department, said that most drivers pulled over for excessive speeding these days explain that they are distracted by the coronavirus outbreak and the crashing economic conditions.
But many do not.
The other day, I stopped a guy going 92 in a 50, Sergeant Barnum said. He's like, it's a new car to me, the road was open, and I just wanted to try it out.
Such temptation may be fueled by a sense that normal rules do not currently apply. Officers admitted that they had been more lenient with minor infractions, like lower-level speeding or missing registrations, to reduce face-to-face interactions. Drivers caught by the police sometimes seem surprised.
I honestly think some of our local motorists think there is a moratorium and we are not doing traffic stops, said Sergeant Robert Ruiz of California Highway Patrol Southern Division, which includes Los Angeles. So when they pass our black and whites, and they get pulled over, that's the first thing out of their mouths. I thought you guys weren't stopping people right now.
There also is growing concern about street racing, both impromptu drag races and large gatherings, like the 50 cars caught racing in Singapore last week.
With less traffic there are fewer collisions, but there is anecdotal evidence of more solo crashes. One outing, involving a rare Porsche Gembala Mirage GT, turned into a crash spree in Manhattan.
Yet there was no slowing the white Audi A8 with Pennsylvania license plates pulling away from a Manhattan garage at 11:15 p.m. on April 4.
Nowhere, perhaps, is the lure of the open road more appetizing than among the loose fraternity of cannonballers, people who, going back to the 1970s, have made an illicit sport of racing from coast to coast.
The idea came from Brock Yates, an editor at Car and Driver magazine, in 1971. Mostly run without rules, the races tickled the gearhead imagination and slid into popular culture. They
spawned the 1976 film, Cannonball, starring David Carradine and, more famously, The Cannonball Run, and Cannonball Run 2, both written by Mr. Yates. They starred Burt Reynolds and featured an eclectic, Love Boat-style mess of actors, singers and athletes.
The races faded, other than some twists in things like routes, budgets or car vintages, but not the urge to beat the clock. The general idea still stands: do whatever it takes to get from Manhattan's Red Ball Garage on East 31st Street to the Portofino Hotel in Redondo Beach as fast as possible on four wheels.
The route between those traditional endpoints is up to drivers. The choice is between a northern route, following much of I-80 and I-70, or a southern one, of almost identical distance, along parts of I-70, I-44 and I-40. In today's low-traffic world, Google Maps estimates that either drive should take 41 hours or so, without stops.
The key is to evade the biggest complications, police and traffic. And never has there been less traffic.
Traffic is a major logistical challenge, Mr. Tabbitt said. Police is a variable we can almost control. There are tons of countermeasures. But we cannot control traffic.
Coronavirus has.
All of the cannonballers are talking about it, Mr. Tabbitt said.
Record-seeking runs usually take place in the fall, to avoid severe weather and roads clogged by slow-moving vacationers. Auxiliary gas tanks in the trunk can limit time-killing fuel stops to 3 or 4.
Most attempts leave New York at night, to avoid city traffic, and get to Los Angeles before the morning rush. That means broad daylight across most of the open country. Cities can be sticky with traffic, but true time killers are the narrow interstates across the plains. Every driver's frustration of being stuck behind one truck slowly passing another is multiplied when anything less than 100 miles per hour is a time suck.
Tools might include radar detectors, laser jammers, multiple GPS systems, night vision cameras and traffic light changers, like those employed by emergency vehicles. Most serious cannonballers employ a team of lookouts in cars, maybe even a plane. Inside the car, the crew uses computers, communication devices and binoculars to anticipate the road ahead.
Drivers avoid erratic or dangerous maneuvers, knowing they might attract attention and elicit calls to the highway patrol. Traffic tickets and accidents are rare.
In 1979, a Jaguar XJS set the standard in 32 hours, 51 minutes. In 1983, a red Ferrari 308 made the trip in a record 32 hours, 7 minutes.
The mark stood until 2006, when a team in a 2000 BMW M5 connected the coasts in 31 hours, 4 minutes. In 2007, another team in a Ferrari 550 Maranello claimed a cannonball record, too.
Ed Bolian beat them all in 2013, finishing in 28-50 in a 2004 Mercedes CL55 AMG with co-driver Dave Black and passenger Dan Huang.
Last November, the team of Mr. Tabbitt, co-driver Arne Toman and passenger Berkeley Chadwick drove a 2015 Mercedes E63 AMG and finished in 27-25.
The record might have held for years if not for the coronavirus. But with American cities suddenly unclogged of traffic, and with vast stretches of highways devoid of most passenger cars, cannonballers saw opportunity.
There have been multiple runs the past couple of weeks, said Mr. Bolian, who monitors these things closely.
The crew that just lowered the mark to 26 hours, 38 minutes, was not widely familiar within the cloaked community of cannonballers. They have not made themselves public. Through Mr. Bolian, who has been in contact with them, they declined to comment.
A photograph of the car and a digital clock with the finish time appeared on a Facebook page, since deleted. Word on the street: there's a new cannonball record yesterday of 26-38. Damn, that's fast, it read. Mr. Bolian, a curator of cannonball records and culture, said that the crew had contacted him during and after the run, and that he had seen enough evidence, from GPS data to time-stamped photographs, to believe that the time was valid.
And, now, a new debate.
Legitimacy is the question, Mr. Bolian said.
Does the lack of traffic dilute the record? Mr. Bolian pondered this on his popular YouTube channel, raising the question more than answering it. Some wonder if the new mark deserves the proverbial asterisk, a mental footnote acknowledging that it was earned in an altered landscape.
Even the men whose record was broken sound ambivalent about it.
Is this the record? Mr. Toman asked. I would say yes. But if I had this lack of traffic, I could have gone a lot faster than 27-25, too.
A bigger ethical issue, ethics being blurred in the outlaw culture of cannonballing, is the timing of the feat during a pandemic that is sickening, and killing, people in alarming numbers. A Car and Driver editorial called this the opposite of the perfect time for a cannonball run. Mr. Toman agreed.
I wouldn't want to attach my name to breaking the record right now, Mr. Toman said. The public distaste for it would far outweigh the glory.
Still, he and others expect more cannonball pursuits in the coming weeks of quarantine. If the record goes even lower, it may be out of reach in the long run, since such conditions may never return.
What makes me sad is that it might be the final chapter, Mr. Toman said.